So once we've developed some good range of motion with the band assisting us in the ability to posteriorly tilt the pelvis, and posteriorly just means that you want to think of your hip bones. If I'm tilting posteriorly, those hip bones are going backwards, so that's what creates tilt. Most kids are going to have the pelvis tilted anteriorly, so down, and that's going to create that excess curve in their back, okay? So when we progress through it, now we want to work through actually increasing the strength of our tilt, along with the ability for the hips to extend and contract with our tilt, because that's going to give us additional contraction strength and additional firing strength as well. So we're going to go through the same progression. We go knees apart in that V shape with our feet flat. The band is going to be at the crease of our hips. So it's very important in this position that we help our athletes find their triangles, because unlike the opposite position where they're being pushed a little forward and their triangle's going to be a little different, here we have perfect ability for the athlete. Now I'm setting my triangle very deeply, and we talked about this. When the feet are flat, we're going to have to get deeper to set that triangle, because we allow the band to do its job of pulling the hips back into retraction. So I'm here, crossing, same thing, tilt the pelvis, and you notice I'm staying in my triangle on this one. Tilt the pelvis, staying in my triangle. Release, tilt the pelvis, staying in my triangle. And you'll notice I go from curved to flat. Curve to flat. And what we're looking for is that the athlete doesn't raise up to artificially create that motion, that they're just using the pelvis to tilt. Then we go, and here's where you'll really see that difference. Notice, I'm already at my triangle. Earlier, I was about right here to set it. Now, I'm right here. On the ball, on the big toe, pushing, same thing. Tilt. And you're gonna see very clearly here how there's a little raise of my torso. I go back a little bit from here because my pelvis is now adding to hip extension. So now I'm being risen up by the movement of my pelvis. It is very different, just like we talked about hip driving the foot as opposed to the foot pulling the hip. The result is not always what we look for. It's how that result happens that what we should be considering and looking at. So when I'm here, pelvis, big relaxation, pelvis, big relaxation, pelvis, big relaxation, okay? I want to go through those movements and understand those progressions. These are things that should be done routinely on a daily basis for our athletes. Band-assisted pelvic tilt, band-resisted pelvic tilt. We should be getting reps of 8 to 12 all the time, ranges of motion getting bigger and bigger every time we do it to unlock and really create the mobility and the extension ability of our hips.